Have you ever wondered how a rugby scrum works? Whether you're new to rugby or perhaps a little mystified as to what's happening with the big bodies in the engine room, we're here to help. In this video, we're going to introduce you to a few key concepts that all rugby fans need to know when the referee calls for those front rows to engage. For the sake of this video, I'm going to assume that you know the scrum positions and understand that the loose head prop is always on the left hand side of the scrum and the tight head prop is always on the right hand side. Part 1. Underhook and overhook. If you're not familiar with grappling sports, judo or wrestling, an underhook is having one arm under an opponent's arm. It's a position of advantage. So if you've got an overhook, it's usually a position of disadvantage. In the scrum, the loose head prop is the underhook, hence has the advantage. And the tight head is an overhook, which is disadvantaged. And that's important when we come to the pivot. Part 2. The scrum pivot. For a couple of reasons, the natural state of scrums is not to go forwards or backwards, it's to pivot. Here's a representation of the centre lines of each scrum. See how the red scrum centre line and the orange scrums line run directly through the centre of their respective hookers' bodies, showing that the scrums are not aligned. If the scrums advance in line with their own centre lines, it creates a pivot point just where the opposing hookers' necks and shoulders meet. If you put two equal scrums on an even surface, they would theoretically pivot around that spot. As you can see, due to the power distribution and the underhook mentioned earlier, the loose head props on the left of the scrum have the advantage and should advance forward, while the tight head props on the right hand side of the scrum are disadvantaged and should be losing ground. Part 3. Combating the pivot. Tight head props are fighting against the pivot and will attempt to move that pivot point to their right hand side. If he can move that pivot point to his outside shoulder, that's parity for his own side of the scrum and dominance for the full scrum. Watch now that the props on the right hand side pivot on the spot, but the full red scrum advances. And if the tight head can get the pivot point beyond his right shoulder, that's overall dominance and the whole scrum advances. Part 4. Encouraging the pivot. So if the tight head prop is combating the pivot, the loose head prop wants the pivot. He's got the advantage with the underhook and the weight distribution of the scrum, and he wants to use it. So how does he do that? Part 4a. Heights. The tight head wants to be as low as possible, chin to grass if the ref will let him, while the loose head benefits from lifting him. There's a couple of reasons for that. When the tight head is low, he's putting the weight and power of his own scrum on top of the opposition scrum through the hooker and the loose head prop. But when he gets lifted, it redirects the scrum power up and away. You may have heard the saying that the tight head prop anchors the scrum. Part 4b. Anchoring the scrum. Think of it kind of like a screw top bottle cap. Press down on a loose cap and it doesn't want to screw on. But if I take my finger off and just let it naturally spin, it'll screw down. The scrum, which wants to pivot, is weighed down by the tight head, so a loose head prop lifting him is like taking the thumb off the cap. So that's kind of confusing. If one side of the scrum wants the pivot, and the other side wants to stop the pivot, aren't they fighting against themselves? Well, no, because the scrum is actually a pincer move. Part 5. The squeeze. The front of the scrum is trying to collect or trap the opponents into a narrower channel, squeezing it and weakening it, and putting the centre line of the opposition scrum closer to its own. If you've ever noticed players popping up out of the front row, sometimes it's for other reasons, but often it's because one scrum has caught the other in a vice-like grip and is pinching the other front row, creating less space for their heads to exist. That has the effect of weakening that scrum, because now the props aren't getting the power through to the opposition scrum efficiently. In doing so, the successful front row will collect their opponents in front of them, like a bulldozer with everything in front of its bucket. Of course, there's a stack of dark arts which aid in doing all of this, and a lot more to scrums than we've mentioned here. But hopefully this video has helped provide a little more clarity in what happens up front. Is there more regarding scrums you'd like to know, or something I should have mentioned? Feel free to leave a question in the comments, and possibly like and subscribe if you'd like to learn more. I'll see you in the next one.